Alright guys, today we're going to do some practice problems for the more on expressions, equations, and inequalities additional focus area. So I'm going to start off right away with this question, first question here, and it says Judith has 2 rooms in her house that she rents separately. She charges $220 per month in rent for one of the rooms. She collected a total of $5,820 last year when both rooms were rented all year long. How much in rent did she charge per month for the other room? So basically what we have to start by is we have to figure out how much this one per month took up. Okay, so we know that that would be 220x, right? Plus, we don't know how much y, right? We don't know this, so let's call this r, because that's rent, y equals 5,820. Okay, well, we know that the x and y in this case, we know the amount of months that they rented is 12. Okay, so we're going to plug in 12 for both of these. So I'm going to say 220 times 12 plus r times 12 equals 5,820. Now I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to do 220 times 12. 220 times 12. Okay, 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Carry my 0 down. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, now I'm going to add it up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 0 is, oops, that's not an 8. That's supposed to be a 4. Okay, that's 4. 4 plus 2 is 2. Okay, so this room costed us $2,640 for that full year. So now we still need to know, though, what 12r is equals 5,820. So now I'm going to solve to get r by itself. So center of my equation is equal sign. Subtract 2,640 from each side. So let's do 5,820 minus 2,640. 0 minus 0 is 0. Borrow from the 8, make that a 7. 12 minus 4 is going to give us 8. 7 minus 6 is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3. So that means this is how much a whole year's worth of rent cost the other room. Okay, so but we need to know how many per month. So now we're at 12r is equal to 3,180. To figure out what the per month is, we now need to divide both sides by 12. So I'm going to do 3,180 divided by 12. Okay, 12 goes into 32 times. 12 times 2 is 24. 31 minus 24 is going to give me 7. Bring my 8 down. 12 is going to go into 78 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 1 plus 1 is 72. Okay, 78 minus 72 is going to give me 6. Bring the 0 down. 12 goes into 65 times. So minus 60 is 0. That means she rented the other room out for $265 a month. Okay, so the answer to number 1 is $265. Remember that on these videos you can pause or rewind at any time, so if you need to go back and see how I did that again, please do so. I am going to erase some of this due to the fact that I kind of took up all the room already on this part here, and we're going to need that room. Okay, so my next one says that a museum charges the rate for groups by charging $4 per person, along with an $8 fee. If the group cost was 60, how many people were in the group? So let's write the equation first. So we know that the total cost is equal to $4 per person, so that's 4 times P, plus the initial fee of $8 for the group. Okay, so it's C equals 4 times P plus 8. Now, it cost the group $60, so let's plug that in for C. So now I have C equals 4P plus 8, and now I need to calculate what P is. The center of my equation is the equal sign. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. 60 minus 8 is 52 equals 4P. So now I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. I'm going to do 52 divided by 4. 4 goes into 5 one time. Minus 4 is going to be 1. Bring the 2 down. 4 goes into 12 3 times. So there was a total of 13 people in their group. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, it says Tom is having car repair. The cost of the parts is $260 and 4 hours of work are required. Tom needs to keep the repair cost under $400. Okay, write an inequality that expresses the relationship between the cost and 400. So we know, okay, we know that $400 is his max. So we know that we're going to use this inequality right here. We're going to use the less than sign. Okay, right? So then he has at least 4 hours worth of work and 260 is the parts. So we know that 260 number isn't going to change, plus 4 hours worth of work. So that's going to be X times 4, or 4X. So it's 260 plus 4 times whatever the hourly rate has to be less than 400. And there's our inequality there. Moving on to our next one, it says the inequality 5x plus 10 is less than or equal to 250. In this inequality, x represents the number of papers Mr. Melmet will be able to grade in the evening. Okay, which phrase most accurately describes his paper? So we need to describe what his papers are like. Okay, so it's telling us that 250 of something is the most we can do. And then we have 10 plus 5x, okay? So let's think about that. So I think we're talking about minutes, and 250 minutes must be the most time he has to spend, right? So that means he can spend 5 minutes per paper with the initial start of 10 minutes. So Mr. M, we'll just call him, has 250 minutes to grade. If it takes, has at most 250 papers to grade, if it takes 5 minutes per paper plus 10 minutes to set up. All right, if you need to pause, please do so. I'm going to move to the last 2 problems here. Okay, it says which is equivalent to the expression 1 minus 9 times 8 plus 2x in parentheses. So what it's asking for me to do is simplify all these expressions into their simplest form. So I'm going to start with this expression here, which is the one we're starting with. And I'm going to do 1 minus 9 times 8 plus 2x. Okay, I rewrote it. Since I have a number outside of the parentheses, I can use the distributive property and multiply the number both on the outside and on the inside of the parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 minus 9 times 8, which is 72, plus 9 times 2x, which is going to be 18x. Now I'm going to simplify it. 1 minus 72 is going to give me negative 71. Because if I owe you $72 and I have $1 to pay you, I still owe you $71 more. So it's negative 71 plus 18x. So we're looking for which of these is the same as negative 71 plus 18x. Looking at this first one right away, negative 64 minus 16x, definitely not the same. Okay. Here we see that this one is negative 8 on the outside, so we're going to distribute it, okay? Negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. Now negative 8 times 2x is going to be negative 16x. Is that the same? Nope, so I'm going to cross that one out as well. Negative 71 minus 18x, we already determined that's the same, so that's right there, correct. This one is 18 minus 72x. That is not going to be the same because we're subtracting 71, not 72. Okay, so the answer is number 3 here because it's the same. Because remember, the negative would have distributed, so that'd be a negative, that's be a negative, so it's negative 71 minus 18x. All right, moving on to our final problem. It says which of the following expressions is equivalent? Again, we have to simplify the expression to find out. So I'm going to do 2 plus 3y minus 2y plus 1. Well, even though we don't have a number in parentheses here, outside the parentheses here, there's a hidden 1. And I'm going to have to use the distributive property with that hidden negative 1 to distribute it out before I can break up these parentheses. So now I've got 2 plus 3y minus, because negative 1 times 2y is going to be negative 2y. And then negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. So now I have 2y plus 3y minus 2y minus 1. Well, 3y minus 2y is going to make just plain y. 2 minus 1 is going to make 1. So I have 1 plus y is my answer. So now I've got to see if any of these are correct. Oh, I wrote this wrong. This should have been 13y. Whoops. It says 13y right there. That's why you make sure you double check that you wrote your problem correctly. So 13y minus 2y is 11y. So it's 1 plus 11y. I could also rewrite this as 11y plus 1. So let's see which one of these are correct. I've got 15y plus 3, 11y plus 3, 13y minus 1, or 11y plus 1. All right, now that you've completed this, you can go ahead and work on your more expressions and equations and inequalities additional focus area. Go ahead and use these notes to help you on the content assessment. Have a good day, guys.